Without further ado, it's time to hear from our next speaker. He is going to share his story of striving for educational equality and how he unexpectedly found himself stepping up to become the head teacher of Merrill Academy in Derby. Look at that. You've got your kids all prepped. We've had the pleasure of hearing Marcus speak on a few occasions, and I'm personally always left humbled at the depths of challenges some schools in our country face. But I'm also reinvigorated by him, by the example that every single person can make a critical difference in this work. Please give a warm Impact Conference welcome to 2011 Teach First Ambassador, Marcus Shepherd.
Wow. I'm not going to say hello Wembley, but I'm a lad from Colville, so to be in Wembley speaking in front of 5,000 people, it's just blown my mind, really. I'm so thankful for the opportunity. In true teacher fashion, I wrote my notes in green pen on the train, and it was a bad idea because now it's a blue light and I can't really see it, so this could be quite interesting. I always like to do a bit of interaction with the crowd, and I'm struggling to see people at the back, but I'm just going to ask for some hands up. So hands up if you were brought up in a single-parent family or are currently a single-parent family. Put your hand up. Nice, because I can see you. Fantastic. Okay. Put your hand up if any of you guys lived on a council estate or in a council house when you were growing up as kids. Okay. Hands up if you were with free school meals when you were at school. Okay. Hands up if your parents had to live off benefits to be able to be brought up. Some hands up there, yeah. And hands up if you were first generation university, the first person from your family to go to university. Wow. Okay, out of interest, hands up if all of those chimed with you. Hands up if you were all of those. Fantastic. The reason I say that is because I was speaking to my mum, actually, before I did this speech. I said, I'm going to challenge the impossible. And I've got a bit of an issue. We're talking about challenging, Dean. I've got a bit of an issue with the word impossible. Those people who put their hand up for all of those things, statistically, that was improbable. I was one of those kids growing up. If I looked at statistics and statistics alone, it was improbable that I would be here, that I would be a head teacher. I would even go to university or be a graduate. But the thing is, it was never, ever improbable or even impossible for me, not because of any arrogant kind of ways or that I'm better than anybody else, but because I had somebody called Denise Shepherd, my mum, who I used to call her my equaliser. She was the person who broke down those barriers. Yes, we live in a council house, so what, she'd say to me. Yes, I live on benefits, so what? Yes, you're an ethnic minority, so what? If you work hard enough, Marcus, if you get your head down and commit to something, you can do it. And I used to think, actually, that was it. My mum instilled in me that hard work. That's what got me there. And then when I started teaching, I realised it wasn't that. The thing that she instilled in me, that we must instill in every one of our pupils, is belief. An undying belief. My mum never thought it was impossible. It was only ever inevitable. It was inevitable that I was going to be successful because she bred in me the hard work, but also that belief, the belief that just because I'm from a certain area, just because we're from a certain place, just because our pupils are from a certain place, so what? Work hard. If you have that belief and there's the tools there, go and use it, Marcus, and be a success. And that stayed with me. And when I decided to do Teach First, that really stayed with me. And the sad fact is, it's still statistically improbable for a lot of our young people. 28, 29 years on, I would have liked to think that things have moved on, but I'm just being a realist and it's not. We're still at a place where if you tick all those boxes, or even some of them, improbable is the word you use. And what I want to talk about briefly today is about how I use Denise Shepherd's mantra, not mine, I'll give her the credit for that, about turning it into the inevitable. When I took over Merrill Academy, it was broken. 30 years of failing. Probably even more than that. That's institutional failure. My kids were called things such as inadequate, a phrase that Ofsted used several times, up to recently in June. They were called stupid. They were the dreg ends. They weren't ever going to be anything from because where they're from or who they are or what school they go to. And that really fired something up in me. And I could not accept it. I couldn't allow it to happen. And I remember going in to my first assembly and I said to them, Merrill Academy will become the best school in the country. Cue the laughter. I had 700 kids who were laughing me out the door almost. I was the 14th head teacher they'd seen come through the doors. I'd put in a new policy, I'd leave, and that'll be that. And when I spoke to parents and to the community, I said I was going to change it, and quite right, they were sick of hearing it. They were sick to death of hearing that things were going to be different. And too many of our schools out there, too many of our schools are in a position like mine where they serve very deprived areas, very challenging contexts, and they're not being moved forward. And the bigger problem for me is there's still a number of people in society, no one in this room, but there's still a number of people in society who feel and genuinely believe that just because of where people are from, that's their limit. And what we must do, we must be the voice in the room that never dies, the voice in the room that never falters, that never wavers, and that always says that those people who believe that are wrong. And whoever the student is, whoever the person is, whoever the adult is, if you've got that belief and someone to believe in you, if you've got that hard work ethic and you're willing to do it and the tools are there, you can be a success. I've never seen this so much as when I spoke to my pupils. You look in their eyes and they do not believe in themselves. The hardest people to convince are not people in society who think that people should be kept in a certain place, but it's the people who've been told year after year, generation after generation, whose parents have been told the same thing and their parents still, that they are not good enough. And because you go to Merrill, because you live in this part of Derby, you will not be a success. They're the hardest people to convince because you've got to undo all the things that have damaged them. And when I stepped in Merrill Academy, I said, after the laughter, I said, we will become the best school in the country. It's inevitable. And my proudest moment was when a student, not too long ago, we brought in a raft of new changes. And they said, behaviour will never be good at this school. Behaviour will never be good at this school. Now, Ofsted haven't come in yet, and that's not the measure I use for good. But where we've moved from kids coming into school 4 years ago and plugging hair straighteners in their lessons and straightening their hair, that's a reality that I faced on my first day as Director of Maths. So now kids coming in and apologising to their teachers because they forgot to use a ruler to underline their title. And they're desperate not to get a negative point, so they go and do it again. That's the change we've made. When people laughed at me and said, you'll never stop people smoking, you'll never stop people misbehaving, you'll never stop people swearing at teachers, you'll never stop people being a failure. And I laughed in their face and said, you watch me. Because those people who say you can't do it cannot be bothered to do it. And we don't need those people. And unfortunately, there'll be teachers, there'll be people in society, there'll be people everywhere who feel like that. And it's our job for our voices to drown those people out. And I remember now, one of the students, we had a new student come in, and they were trying it on a little bit. And the girl turned around, and she said, you might as well give up now, because it's inevitable. You will behave. And that, for me, was my proudest moment. She's in my mentor group. I thought, good on you. Good on you, Kira. And for me, today is an amazing opportunity because never again, possibly in my life, will I get to be with so many people who believe in exactly the same thing as me. But what we must remember also is this. The reality is it's really, really hard. It's exponentially hard. There's no point in just saying, okay, they just need to work hard and believe in them. The obstacles they face, the obstacles people face when they're disadvantaged are extremely difficult to overcome. And anybody who works in a challenging school, who goes in every single day and gets up and gives 120%, they are the hardest working people I know. It is exponentially hard, but that does not mean we stop. That means we must unite, like today, 5,000 people in a room with all that energy and continue driving that mission wherever you may be. And like I said, when those people laughed at me in assembly, and when people are walking, we talk in the community, my parents now, we want to instill some pride in the community. And thankfully, I've got some parents here today who are coming to listen to our choir, and it makes me so proud that I now can say that Merrill Academy has pride back into it. And those people in other areas who say, you will always be what you are, I say to my students, let them line up in 3, 4, 5, however long it takes to get there, and say sorry. Because you know what? Their voice may be loud now, but my voice is not wavering. My voice is not faltering. We will not quit. We will not give up. And I've been there. If you're sitting there now thinking, yeah, but it's really difficult. Oh, trust me, I've been there. When Ofsted put you in special measures 2 weeks into headship, that's a tough place to be. And there was many, many tears shed. But where my school is now and how far we've come is testament to the fantastic work that the kids have done, that the staff have done, that the parents have done, that the community have done. And I was trying to think before I came, how can I visualize this? How can I show you an example of what I'm talking about? So I'm going to give you a very brief story, and then I'm going to bring some special people onto the stage. I started a year and a half ago. Community meant nothing at Merrill. There was no community there. We didn't believe in ourselves. We didn't have any pride in ourselves. I saw young people who did not believe they could be anything. And I couldn't accept that. So I said to them, we're going to create something special. And one of the things we created was a school choir. We never did any extracurricular stuff. And there was a group of, it started off about 5 or 6 girls, wasn't it? About 5 or 6 girls. Very vulnerable. They were very quiet, very shy. Never would even imagine singing in front of 2 people. And I said, we're going to make a choir. And we're going to go and do big things. And again, there was people laughing and this and the other. And there were schools, private schools who had these amazing orchestras and choirs. And I said, no, we'll start small and we'll make it big. And I took them to a concert at Nottingham University, thanks to Teach First. And it changed their lives. And hopefully with your help today, you will be able to continue changing their lives. We've taken some of the kids who did not believe in themselves one bit. We drove them down to London today. They've been singing for about 8-9 months, if that. And today, for you and for you only, they are going to sing our song that we are about and that we believe in. And I'm going to give you 2 warnings. One, it's very cheesy, right? It's Mr. Shepherd's favourite, it's very cheesy. And the second warning is this: I am going to be crying, okay? I'm not going to apologise about that. And you may be, and I'm not sitting there talking about my results, because you know what? At the minute, our school is still in special measures. But we know, the kids now know, it's not a case of if we're getting out. It's a case of when we're getting out. It's not a case of if we're going to be a good school. It's a case of when we're going to be a good school. It's not a case of if we're going to be the best school in the country. But sorry to every other school that's here, it's when we are going to be the best school in the country. And I'll leave you on this, is that when we talk about challenge the impossible, to me, it's not about challenging the impossible. It's about proving that it's not improbable. It's about proving that it's inevitable. And when we can say that, then we have won. And what I want to do now is introduce the most amazing group of people that I've ever heard sing. I'm so proud of them. And if you could see where they were a year ago, where our school was, the mess our school was in, if you'd asked me in a year's time, would they be standing on Wembley Arena stage singing this? I wouldn't have ever believed it. And I think if you asked them that, you wouldn't either. They're extremely nervous. Please give a massive round of applause to the Merrill Academy Melody Makers.